My brothers and sisters, Yali Madat. Earlier this month, the institutions launched the 2020 Jamati survey. Thank you to the numerous families across the US who have completed the survey. Information from the survey is used to measure the Jamat's progress towards improving our overall quality of life and to help us develop new initiatives. The survey is anonymous, secure, and confidential and can be filled out online in only a few minutes. I encourage all families who have not participated to please do so via the link that was shared with you in the Smiley Insight. The deadline is Saturday, October 31st, just a few days away. Your participation will help us to better serve the Jamaat. As you're aware, we are now just over a week away from celebrating the American tradition of Election Day on November 3rd. This year, the tone and the rhetoric surrounding the election has been particularly intense, and the environment has been concerning. Our country's democracy traditionally prides itself on peaceful and orderly elections, and even orderly protests by its citizens to voice their concerns. This time, however, experts have expressed some concern that some public gatherings and protests could escalate into possibly violent or dangerous situations with little to no warning. The United States is a pluralistic and diverse society. One of the hallmarks of our great country is the right and privilege all Americans enjoy of freedom of speech and to peacefully express their various thoughts and views. Participation in the electoral process and elections is a civic duty and responsibility, and every one of us should participate and exercise our right and privilege to vote without feeling intimidated by anyone. While the language, emotions, and circumstances around this election have been so polarizing, we should remain, through our words and actions, at all times, polite and respectful of others' views, even if they are different from our own. But we should also be mindful and vigilant and remain informed by keeping up to date with the latest news, especially local news, to know what's going on in our area. And we should be careful about our news sources because there is a fair amount of false and misinformation that sounds credible at times. In light of the possibility of escalating situations leading up to, on, or after Election Day, all of us should thoughtfully consider our unique circumstances and consider the steps we can take to ensure the safety and security of ourselves and our families. When out and about, remain vigilant, and if you find yourself in a situation where you feel uncomfortable or threatened, you should not hesitate to distance yourself from the situation as quickly and discreetly as possible, and to reach out to law enforcement for help if needed. Be thoughtful about where you are going, who you're going with, and keep in touch with friends and family members. Being aware of our surroundings and, when possible, minimize unnecessary exposure to unfamiliar situations, so stay out of unexpected, potentially dangerous circumstances, and to avoid being caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time. Raising our level of security consciousness is something we can all do to help keep ourselves and others safe. Finally, I want to emphasize that while we are cautiously beginning to reopen Jamaat Khanas where we can with reduced capacity, there are increasing numbers of coronavirus cases in pockets of the country. We should not confuse any Jamaat Khana reopenings or the country reopening around us with the risk of coronavirus going away. Instead, we should continue to maintain and maybe even increase our vigilance against the COVID-19 virus by avoiding unnecessary social gatherings, maintaining safe distance, making use of face coverings, and practicing good hygiene. In the end, I want to take this opportunity to inform you that the Aga Khan Foundation USA is about to launch an exciting education and awareness campaign this fall. It is an opportunity for us to learn about and support the important work the foundation is undertaking in Africa and Asia, particularly during this time of great global need. I would like to acknowledge the support and hard work of the many volunteers, donors, and sponsors who have been the pillars of AKF USA over the past 40 years and continue to inspire with their commitment to this exceptional institution. To tell us more about the campaign, I am pleased to introduce Sharina Ibrahim, the chair of the Aga Khan Foundation USA National Committee. Until next time, I wish you happiness and safety. Ya Ali Madat.
Hello, everyone. The last 7 months have been a tremendously difficult time, not only here in the United States, but around the world. COVID-19 has shown us how truly interconnected we all are. We think of the pandemic as a health crisis, but in reality, it is far more than that. Worldwide, school closures are affecting more than 550 million students. That is an entire generation of girls and boys whose education is compromised. The pandemic is expected to double the number of people living with acute hunger by the end of this year, plunging an additional 130 million people into food insecurity. And it is not a gender neutral crisis. Women have handled the majority of the unexpected and unpaid caregiving duties, and 70% of frontline healthcare workers in the world are women. We have also seen increases in gender-based violence due to the isolation of distancing measures. It is clear that the work of the Aga Khan Foundation is needed now more than ever. The foundation has charged forward to meet the challenge of COVID-19 head-on, building on decades of work across Africa and Asia. Our longstanding commitment to improving health and nutrition, education, agriculture and food security, economic inclusion, and early childhood development, all the while promoting gender equality, has not wavered. AKF USA has organized walks, galas, golf, and dinner events since its inception to help support our work around the world. For the first time, we have had to cancel all of our events in 2020 for the safety of our donors, volunteers, and sponsors. However, I'm pleased to announce that this coming Tuesday, October 27th, we are launching Virtual Voyage, an opportunity to do a virtual walk while learning about Aga Khan Foundation's work around the world. Over the course of November, we will travel together to 4 countries where the Aga Khan Foundation works: Kenya, India, Afghanistan, and Tajikistan. Through our weekly stops in each country, we will explore stories that illuminate the Aga Khan Foundation's long-standing work in each of these 4 geographies and how these programs have pivoted to respond to the pandemic. These stories will be shared as a part of a dedicated microsite as well as emails and social media. You will see the impact of your support to the Aga Khan Foundation as well as the work that remains to be done. The voyage will culminate on December 6th with our homecoming celebration. The interactive online event will recognize our supporters and celebrate our collective achievements. And for the first time ever, we are doing this in collaboration with our colleagues at Aga Khan Foundation Canada, which means that the homecoming event will be a North America-wide celebration. We have been blessed with the tremendous support of our volunteers across the United States. They have offered valuable ideas in planning this voyage and engaging with the Jamat and others. We are most grateful to our regional chairs, vice chairs, city leads, relationship managers, and other volunteers for stepping up to the challenge and helping us prepare for an exceptional voyage. I encourage you to register for the virtual voyage when you receive the invite on October 27th, and then participate in the journey commencing in Kenya on November 10th and weekly thereafter until December 6th. Your generous support through the voyage, either through your respective regional representatives or directly to AKF USA, will be greatly appreciated. 100% of all donations received will go towards AKF's work. Starting on October 27th, you can go register directly by visiting the special virtual voyage website, virtualvoyage.akfusa.org. There will be more details posted there as the journey commences. We look forward to welcoming you on board and experiencing this exceptional voyage together. I would like to share with you a short trailer for the voyage to give you a tease of what we have in store for you over the next month. Thank you.
Yalimada, and welcome to this week's Sundays with Us. Today, we will be exploring the diversity of our Jamat through culinary expression. Food is a huge component of culture, and when it comes to family memories and stories, while each culture has unique dishes, there's a commonality across all cultures. Sharing our food is our way of welcoming people into our homes or celebrating milestones and new chapters in our lives. We all have that one dish that makes us nostalgic and brings us comfort and joy. What is it for you? Is it a dish that is made weekly in your home, or one that is made only on special occasions? I myself love cooking and really enjoy finding easy recipes my family can enjoy. I love exploring new recipes from different cultures. What I've noticed is that across many cultures, rice is a staple. While its origins are said to be from parts of East Asia and Africa, through trade and exportation, it has become commonplace across many cultures. Did you know that 1/5 of calories consumed by humans worldwide comes from rice? I believe it. In many of the cultures in our Jamat, there is a rice dish that we make on special occasions, for get-togethers and davats, weddings, Eid, and Kushali. Today, we will be exploring those dishes across some of the cultures represented in our U.S. Jamat. For each dish, we'll share an overview of the dish, its most significant ingredients, and hear from one of our community members who will share stories and memories that they have with the dish. Don't worry, we'll share the recipes as well. Let's now learn about Kabuli Pulao from Afghanistan.
Yalimada, my name is Sarah Ahmadi and I am from the Washington, D.C. Jamat. Today we'll be talking about Kabuli Pulao.
What is Kabuli Pulao?
Kabuli Pulao is a traditional Afghan rice dish that is different from all the other rice dishes because it has carrots and raisins, sometimes pistachios on top, and it is shared by the whole country.
What are the main ingredients?
The main ingredients, again, are rice, carrots, raisins, and pistachios if you like nuts.
How do you cook it?
Our family cooks it a little differently. I personally don't know how to cook it yet, so I got my mom's recipe, and her recipe is, just like any other rice dish, you wash and soak the rice for more than 2 hours. While the rice is soaking, you can prepare the carrots. We have the carrots julienned here, some shred, just depends on how you like it. While the carrots are sitting to the side and are ready to be cooked, you can prepare the meat. And in the meat, it is cooked with onions, black pepper, salt, and water. And then after you've cooked the meat, my mom likes to make her carrots this way. She'll use the sauce or like the broth that's left over from the meat to cook her carrots in, but most people fry them. So it really just depends on what you like. Then once the meat and carrots are ready, you will have crushed fried onion, oil, salt, masala, a little bit of tea cardamom for the aroma, and water. And this is all boiled together to make the seasoning for the rice. The seasoning creates color, smell, and taste. That's when you can begin to boil the water to cook the rice. So depending on the rice you make, obviously, or the rice that you use, it'll cook for about 10 minutes max, but obviously you want to keep watching your rice just so it doesn't overcook, because you only want to cook it 3/4 of the way through. And that's because we'll be sticking it in the oven later on. So after you've been watching it constantly, you drain the water from the rice. Now that it's been, again, 3/4 of the way through, that's how much you want to cook the rice. You drain your water, and you have the rice in your pot. You put your seasoning that you just made on top of your rice. My mom likes to put the raisins in a little corner all together, and that's when you put it into your oven that is at 350 degrees, and it's in there for about half an hour to 40 minutes. And then once it is ready, you can take it out and top your rice, and that's how you make kabuli pulao.
What does this dish remind you of?
This dish reminds me of quality family time and holidays. I feel like anytime we are getting together with the family or friends, there's kabuli pulao involved, and that makes me happy.
When did you first learn how to make kabuli pulao, and who taught you?
Still learning, and my mom taught me, or is teaching me.
Is there a particular memory that you have that includes this dish?
Not one particular memory. I feel like there are many since we get to celebrate with it a lot. But I remember growing up, I did not like kabuli pulao at all. I always chose white rice over kabuli pulao until I was maybe in my teenage years, and I started to become obsessed with it. So now any family gathering, wedding, wherever we go, if it doesn't have kabuli pulao, it's just not complete.
Wow, is anyone hungry yet? We will now learn more about biryani, a dish common across Pakistan, India, and East Africa. While there are nuances across these cultures, today we will dive deep to hear from a Pakistani family from Dallas. Let's now check in with the Somanis.
Today, my mom is going to make one of my all-time favorite dishes, biryani. Dad, do you want to share a little bit more about this dish?
Yes, the word biryani comes from the Persian word biryan, which means to fry, and brinj means rice. Biryani comes from the Persia, and it was brought to India by the Mughals in 15th century.
Interesting. So biryani is usually served as the main dish, right?
That's right. When I hear the word biryani, it immediately connects me to the festivities and celebration like Khushali dinner, wedding, and family get-together.
So when you were little, did your mom make biryani for you?
Oh yes, I remember when I was young, my mom used to make biryani on all the occasions. And her biryani, I still remember the taste of her biryani. It was so awesome, and it was finger-licking good.
Wow, that sounds amazing. But I know you have lots of brothers and sisters. So did everyone get their fair share, or did some of my chachas get more than others?
No, that was not the case. Back home, we all used to sit on the floor around the dastarkhan, and my elder sister used to serve the biryani straight from the pot on the plate, and then we would pass the plates around.
Wow, what a cool memory. For now, we're gonna pass it on to my mom, who's gonna take you on a behind the scenes look at the art of making biryani.
Pakistani biryani is layers of meat and potato, fried onions and yogurt, and rice. I love to make biryani, and I find reasons to make it.
Why do you love making biryani, Mom?
Because my family loves to eat it and it makes them happy.
You mean because you love to make me happy?
Yes, Zara, that too. Anyway, I learned my biryani from my sister Fadia, who would make it with raw meat. So her first layer would be with the raw meat, and then she would add the rest of the ingredients. Since I was a rookie and I didn't want her to take a chance, so I changed a little bit. So what I did, instead of raw meat, I used cooked meat. And over the years, I perfected my own recipe by adding these 3 favorite ingredients. First one is dry plum. We call it aloo bukhara. This here, we picked this on our trip to Iran. This gives a tangy and sweet taste to the biryani. The second ingredient is saffron. There's no biryani without saffron. When you add this to the biryani, it releases a rich aroma, which is a cue for my family that the biryani is almost ready. And the third ingredient is biryani essence. This reminds me of my childhood time in Bangladesh. During Khushali time, volunteers will make biryani for Sagri Dham, so they would have a huge deg and they would prepare biryani in there by adding lots of ghee, and they would add fat, we used to call it charbi, but it was so delicious. And when you would eat that, you would literally see the grease dripping out of your hand. I mean literally. That's one of my favorite childhood memories of Bangladesh.
What about your secret ingredient?
Oh, thank you, Zara, for reminding me that. It's the tomato. I know a lot of people won't use tomato in biryani, but believe me, it does make a difference when you use the tomato. My sister-in-law Farida, she suggested that I should use tomato in my biryani, but at first I was hesitant and I didn't want to use it. But eventually when I did it, it definitely enhanced the taste of the biryani. So I would suggest that you should try using the tomatoes in your biryani. Anyway, I better get going because I have to put all this together and then I will come back with the final product.
Wow, this smells incredible. Look at the steam coming out. It's nice and warm and fresh. And actually, this reminds me, do you guys remember that one time in college, you made 2 huge trays of biryani and you actually called me on your way down. It was for my birthday. And they called me on the road and they said, Zara, get all of your friends together because we brought 2 fresh trays of biryani just to celebrate your birthday for you. And turns out 3 hours later, there was 20 of us crammed in my tiny college apartment, but we were eating the best birthday biryani a girl could ask for. It was awesome.
And I remember all of those parties that we used to throw at our house, especially when your brother would be in town.
That's right.
From his school break, and all of his friends would come over and fill up their plate with biryani. Now this would be their first round, and then with everything else going on, they would have games and they would laugh and they would joke and wait till the second round.
That's right. Actually, I remember you preparing double the biryani for every party we had because that second round was a tradition. It was not a Somani family without that second round.
Thank you all for spending your time with our family. I think now it's time for us to dig in. So long. Khuda Hafiz.
So how is biryani adjusted for an American lifestyle? Let's hear from Anisa Valiani about her version of the dish.
Hi everyone, my name is Anisa Valiani and I have a blog called The Picky Eater's Kitchen, and today I'm going to show you my version of biryani. This dish is so close to my heart. I grew up eating it at least once a month, but sometimes twice. My mom would always make it when it was Chandrat, and that's how we knew it was Chandrat, because we would smell it in our whole home, and it would just be such a warm, comforting smell just to invite us into, eat dinner together. So I'm going to teach you my version of biryani. My mom taught me her version. It's a little bit longer, and in the lifestyle we live now in the US, things are just so fast moving. I want to make sure I try to give my children the same flavors that I grew up with, but cut the time in half. So I'm going to be showing you how I do it with the same delicious flavors, just using the Instant Pot to help me out a little bit. So in my biryani, I'm going to be using a whole cup of tomatoes. I'm going to use a cup of fried onion, some to sprinkle on top and some in the dish, some ginger garlic paste, some cumin, paprika, ground coriander, a little saffron, some food coloring, of course, some lemon, some salt, some onions, and I'm going to be using the best of both worlds, my Karachi and Bombay biryani masalas.
Now I'm definitely hungry. I hope you enjoyed this cultural snapshot and exploration through food. Like these rice dishes, there is so much about the dishes that is common and things that are unique, a metaphor for our various cultures within the Jamat, celebrating our differences, our diversity, and yummy new dishes. Thank you for spending your Sunday with us. Malal Ali Madet.